got rid of things like habeas. Hitler stopped things like due process. So it goes both ways here.
Oh, you'd be
I
with
think it's just
Hitler.
as dangerous to have a country in which we decide we don't have any
Guys,
courts
I
that are
guess the
allowed to
last
do
question
things.
is this: Has Trump done anything right in your opinion? Like anything? Has he done
Cindy, why
anything?
you always ask that question?
Because
Because we're
you're always
fascinated. You
shitting
can't
on
come
him.
up with
So
an
I
answer.
just want to
Cindy,
know:
he's
is
doing
there
shit every
anything?
single day, all day long. You
Is
even
there
complain
any
about the
good?
stuff. You
Has he
even
done,
complain about
Michelle?
what he's
In
doing,
your
Cindy.
That's not
opinion,
a
You even complain
in
about the
your
shit that he's
opinion,
doing. So
that
we're
makes
gonna
her
has
talk
good
he
about
human
it.
done
being.
anything
We're
right?
we're going to talk about Trump every single day, all day long, and it's
And again,
continuing
you
to
can
do
do
stupid
that.
shit.
You're a
I'm
whole
Okay,
gonna answer it.
74. You're a
accept that
whole
and accept it.
70.
I'm recording
That's
You're
what
what
we're
a
you're
gonna
gonna
whole
do.
say as a compliment, and
74
I'm gonna play it
people.
for your
And
You're
accept
constitution.
it. That's what
74
we're
One
going to
second.
do.
people with the
If
same
y'all ask a
opinion.
question, can y'all let people
74
He's
respond
not
to
gonna
people.
the
answer it, chat.
You're
huh?
74
He's not gonna
people.
answer it.
Wow, 74 people, right? That come in every night, beating the same drum night after night after night. I asked a question. The question is very simple because I'm going to give you my answer. If Biden or Clinton or Obama were doing any of these, I would be very much go, you guys. Let's go. Okay? How's that?
What?
But see, you guys as Dems can never give enough. You can't. It's just something in you that you
That's,
cannot say,
that's
okay,
not.
you know what? Trump has
Tara,
done this
she
right.
They're
missed
going
the
to go to
room.
Trump
other
has done
presidents
that
or
She missed
right.
the
Republicans to
rooms
give
when we did.
compliments.
No,
The
I
question is,
actually the
what
other
do you
night, I know
agree
I
with
can't even
Trump
remember.
has
I
done?
started off by the other night, just
No, we're talking
last
to
night, I
Rochelle.
started off by saying two things that I approved of what Trump had done. I
Well,
agree
what about
that
Tara
the
we
does it
should
all
seven
the
lower.
time.
things?
Hey,
What
let me
about the
just
seven things he's done this
wait.
weekend?
Cindy, I
Oh,
agree that we should lower prescription drug prices. I think most favored nation is
okay,
a good
that's a
idea,
good thing.
but I
Fair
do
enough.
not think that Trump can do this by executive order. And I think he has to work with Congress on this, something he seems unwilling to do, to somehow go to them and say, you must pass a bill like this. So I
A
think
beautiful
it's a good
bill.
idea, but I wish his implementation was completely wrong. I also
So are
was
you saying
happy.
Congress would disagree with lowering prescription drug
They
prices?
should be willing to do this. Why doesn't he do it the right way then? Why is he
Oh,
answering an
what?
executive order, Barth?
Because it's a big, beautiful bill. Because
Barth,
there's no way the
Barth.
American
He
people
hasn't.
It's
would
There
not
have
a
let
been like
bill.
people
five
That's
bills
not a
passed.
vote
Does he
bill.
Congress
against
need,
has
a
done
does
big,
he
nothing.
need
And
an
beautiful
executive
bill that
order
includes
to build
lower
shelters?
prescription.
Does
the
he have to need
executive
an executive
order
order
is
to
not
build
going to
shelters
work.
for homeless veterans? Should
But
he
what
get
I'm
an
trying to
executive
say,
order
Cindy,
for
you just
that?
asked me a question. You asked
I'm
me,
just
what has
saying,
Trump
like,
done that's good?
guy
And
did
I, the other
seven
night,
things
said,
that
I
What
want
Triple
to
about the
J came
say,
executive
around the
order for the
answer.
right Afrikaners?
was
He's giving
anything
them
good that he
everything.
did.
Cindy,
Housing, food,
Cindy,
everything.
wait. And I also, I am happy about the border being closed more.
Oh,
Okay.
it's not closed more, it's closed.
Fine. I'm not happy with
It's
Not
not
for
letting
closed.
people in for
Africans
asylum for legitimate
USA.
asylum purposes. I think that's completely wrong, but I am happy that we have a lower level of people coming in. I think that's better for the country right now and to just to get the temperature down, let's just say. I also am happy, although I think he negotiated with Hamas and it's a little weird that the Israeli hostage was released yesterday.
You mean the American hostage, the only
The
American
Israeli
hostage?
American, wasn't he Israeli as well? I
He's
thought he was
American.
fine.
He's American. We
Okay.
saw him come back to America.
I am
We
happy
saw
that
him
he
come
was
back to
released.
his
You
family.
asked me and I answered, but you don't care because you don't want to hear the answer. That's sort of sad. Okay.
No, that's
I
not
just
true.
gave
I'm
you
just
three
asking
answers.
if
I have
he's done
specifically,
anything good this weekend. Did anything? Did he do anything good this weekend? That's
I
all I'm
said,
asking.
and why are my answers wrong? I said the hostage, that's good. I like the idea behind the executive order, but the implementation is completely wrong and it won't work. Okay? Those are two good things in the last 2 days, all right? But what I don't like is I don't like this Qatar airplane. This is nonsense. It's criminal. I mean, it's bad, right? I don't like the fact that people are sort of saying that, oh, the economy is much better. You start a fire in your house and then you put it out and then you say, look, I saved my house. It doesn't work like that, okay? You're responsible for starting the fire. These whole tariff things have been nonsensical, all right? I still have no idea what the
But
heck
it's
he's doing.
actually working in our favor right now, isn't it?
They are not working in our favor. We
Of
still
course
have
they are.
30. No, they're not.
Okay.
We have gotten almost no deals. This China thing is not a
Did
deal.
inflation hit a 4-year low today?
Inflation hit a low, but let's wait until
Oh
the
shit! I
impacts.
hate when
But it's
facts come
still
in.
inflation. Things are still
Oh,
going
and by
up,
the
Barth.
way, the stock
Oh,
market's on a high for the year right now.
No, when
Yes,
Don't
it
Biden,
hit
no,
them
no,
with
is.
no.
too many
Yes, it
facts.
is, Tara.
43, the Dow Jones was at 43.4 or something when Trump took office. It's at 42 something. No, it's not.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
How much
Okay.
did
That was called a Trump bump.
Saudis agree to
Okay.
invest
So you
today?
can debate that with Ray all day long. I'm not going to debate that with you. Because on that one, I
I'm just
think you're
looking at
my
the Dow
pleasure.
Jones. Maybe other indices have gone up. I don't know, but the Dow is definitely down like 1,000 or a little more than 1,000 from when Trump came in. And this is Trump's doing because he created these crazy situations, and then he claims victory
But
when he withdraws his
today
tariffs. It's
was, you're
crazy.
wrong. And I will quote Ray. Today we're up at the highest for the year. So I don't know what you're looking
I'm
at.
looking at the Dow, which is at
I
42
listen.
something. What Ray is
Just
looking at something else.
well, I think I'm going to
Dow
go
was
with
at
Ray on that
42
one. I
something. It
think
was
I'm going
at
to go with Ray
43
on that one. For
something.
38 years in the business, I think I'm going to believe Ray on that one.
Ask him about the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and then he'll probably say, "Well, that's irrelevant because it was dropped by United Healthcare." He's looking at a different metric. I'm just
He's
telling you the
looking at
Dow
the
was down.
S&P 500.
Tara's looking at the
Fine.
one that doesn't matter.
Tell me where the S&P 500 is, Tara.
I don't know because I didn't look at it today.
It's
Okay,
right next to
So
the
maybe,
you're
Dow Jones one.
maybe
well,
you
you're
should.
probably talking about that then. But the claim that I made is not incorrect. You're using a different metric, like I said.
Okay. So we're not working things out for the next 90 days with China, right?
We have an agreement. China gave up nothing, okay? China just went, they haven't done anything. It's all been Donald Trump. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to drop this, and I'm going to drop this. So, you can say, oh, I don't know what we've achieved. What have we achieved with China?
How
You
about
tell me.
getting China to the negotiation table? My follow up question to that is you don't agree with like Trump's kind of negotiating with Hamas. Who the fuck had the hostages? You got to fucking negotiate with the hostage holders, right?
Well,
So
The
has
United States
China
doesn't
been to the
negotiate with
the
terrorists.
United States has always said they don't negotiate with terror. They actually negotiated directly with Hamas. This is an interesting
So you're
thing.
saying this American should be left behind, the one
No,
everybody thought
I'm
was
actually
dumb.
saying that I think it's a
Do you know
dilemma,
what
and
the
I'm glad that
negotiations were?
I said
Because
I'm
they
glad
also
they did it.
agreed to
Barth,
quit
did you
bombing
listen to me
the
that I'm glad? I
ships.
said I'm glad. Perhaps you missed the fact that I
What
said I was
about
Well, you
glad.
India and
said I
Pakistan?
kind of have this
What
You
problem
have
about
with
nothing to do with India.
negotiating
what
with
about
Hamas.
India and Pakistan right now? Has he
Oh,
calmed
you have
that
much to do
down?
with that.
Has
What?
he?
It had nothing to do with that.
Okay,
Literally.
it's time for me to go to bed.
But
Good
I
night.
know. Wow.
I can't reason with unreasonable, and you can't move
Tell
the
me what he
needle a little
did.
bit.
What did he do to get that situation under
How
control?
about
What
this?
did he
He
do? What
mediated.
did he
How's
do?
this?
Exactly what did he do?
How's this, Jonathan? Go read the news. Go read the newspaper.
He
How's
started the
that? Go watch the
conversations.
Oh my
news.
God.
He
Okay.
referred
Yeah,
back
you
and
What
can
did he
forth.
say,
do,
He
"Oh my
said,
Cindy?
all right.
God,"
Cindy,
And
what
you
you
did he
can
put
say,
a
do?
"Oh my
temperature on.
God," all day
You don't
long,
fucking
They
agree
still
Jonathan.
with
be
this
using
shit. You
Okay,
want
newspaper.
to see what
your
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 tariffs are
your
going to
your
be?
your problem is, Jonathan. You can never, ever, ever be objective,
Or
and
think
that's
Cindy,
logically?
okay. You're a young
no,
guy.
They
I'm
want to
not.
see
You will
I'm not a
learn
young
in
truth.
guy.
life.
I'm
You
not a
will
young guy,
learn,
Cindy,
but you are, and you
but I'm
will learn
not.
in life that you have to be objective. You
I am
have
being
to.
objective.
Okay, in your opinion, you are. And as far as I'm concerned,
He
compared to
said,
my
"I'm not a
age, you
boy
are a young
anymore."
guy. You are a young guy compared to my age, right? So you'll have to learn just like I
Cindy,
had
how
to
old are
learn.
you?
I'm 60.
Okay, I'm 10 years younger than you.
You're a young guy.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, but okay.
Damn, he Gen X.
You sound like you're 35, so take that as a compliment.
I'll take it as a compliment. But
Well, when the fuck you going to grow up and get a brain?
I have a brain.
It's so
Some
common
never do.
sense.
Every once in
And
a
so,
while,
like,
Jonathan,
why don't you go out and
you
support
gotta
Cindy,
be
when
objective.
MS-13 fell in
Guys, you gotta
Hiroshima?
be
I'm being
objective.
objective. I think that there are things that he's done that are okay.
Okay, let's hear
Boom.
what okay is.
Okay, the idea behind the drugs is okay. I'd like for my prices to go down. I'm not sure they actually will, but that's okay.
Okay.
I think again also like
Will you
I have a
support what
problem.
it takes to get that done? Will you call your
What
congressman?
type of
Hey,
I call my
hey,
drugs?
congressman
one
regularly.
second,
What's
one
the support?
second,
What
one
it takes to
second.
I
get
call my
the
congressman
One
regularly. Go
second,
ahead.
one
Yes,
second,
Jet.
you two. One second. If you ask a question, please wait until the person. This is overstimulating. If you ask a question, can you let people finish?
uh I
Go
can't
I'm
ahead.
just wondering what
So
type of
go ahead.
drugs.
because
Go
I already
ahead,
know the
Jonathan.
answer and I'm ready for the next question.
Well, Scott, I don't know if are you co-hosting today? No. All right, go
I
ahead,
I don't
Jonathan.
have
You
a
can
problem.
answer the question. I'm just asking because I
No,
asked
that's fine.
somebody
You
to
tell
kind
me
of
to
run the
you
room
ask
while
it.
huh?
You finish it.
Why in
Okay.
the shit do you keep talking when I'm talking, bro?
Well, because I think I was talking and you felt like you needed to interrupt. So you're good.
No,
I'll do
because
what
you're
you do.
being a dick.
Is anybody up? Am I not
Well,
talking?
all right.
No, listen. I don't know why y'all do
Listen,
this.
it's all right.
I am
Okay. You got
asking
this.
for Jonathan to answer your question, my guy.
I'm
What
not
are
gonna
you doing?
I don't listen to liberal left turns. If
Well,
I want to have
then
a
go start Bart's police chat or something. Then you asked him a question, let him answer it.
so there has not been back and forth
Bart,
with
can
Tara
you
and
learn to keep
everybody.
quiet, please?
I
Come
didn't get
on,
the
Bart.
email about the
Just
new
keep
rules.
sharp.
I
Barth, what was
apologize.
your
I'm
question?
No, it's just
done. I have no questions
overwhelming.
after
Like
that.
it's not
I
just you.
apologize. I ruined your debate the news party.
Listen, I need y'all to eat or go get some booty before y'all come on these stages. Okay, whatever it is that you need to get some peace. Okay.
But Chad, sister, this is both sides, man. It's not just Bud doing it,
And I
man.
said the same thing when the other side was doing it. I literally did.
You got it. You got it.
I
I'm
sure
sorry.
did.
You got
I
it.
sure did. So let's go ahead and have the conversation, guys. Go ahead.
What was your question, Barth? All right, well, then I'm done.
Ask this miracle grow a question.
What? Yeah. Okay. See, what's
Mm.
crazy is y'all gotta have chaos to have a conversation. Why? Like this division that's in this country, like that would have been a great moment for MAGA to hear what the other side thinks that he is doing right. And instead, y'all gaslit. Then when Cindy and Tira's exchange, right? Like I did not know that Tira had to tell her son to hide the fact that he was Jewish. That hurt. I mean, did that not like? Did y'all not hear that? Like, imagine as a people, you had to do that. I mean, I'm black, of course I know, but I can't hide the fact that I'm black. But imagine the PTSD behind that. That now your children's children have to hide the fact that they're Jewish so they can be safe
The
again.
fact, the fact that you had to remind yourself he was black.
I don't think she really had to remind
I,
herself, so keep it quiet.
yeah, I didn't. You missed it. Okay.
Yeah, definitely didn't have to remind us.
Semitism, anti-Semitism is a serious, yeah. And I mean, I grew up Jewish, so um, I didn't have a safety issue, but discrimination. I don't typically. I don't look as Jewish as some people that have roots to, and actually on my grandmother's side, I have roots to New York. Depending on where you have roots, going on in the valley. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily fun growing up as a Jewish kid in Atlanta, quite frankly. So at times, and I'm not a woe is me, you know, I got a tiny little violin, whatever you want to call it, to deal with it. But you know, be happy with what you have and figure it out. I mean, everybody has their aspects of, but I don't know. Not sure. Hey guys, I'm not sure what all the conversations were, but I was laughing in chat. You were. I love how you handle this stage.
Yeah, yeah,
It
Okay,
Charles
took
on
well,
that
I did
answer.
not want to get on your wrong side. I'm just
no.
gonna say, girl, what do you want to
Hey, Chad, I got a question.
do? Let's go out. Let's chill.
Hey, I'm game, girl.
Charles, can I
Hey,
chip in a
Chad,
little
can
bit,
I ask
please?
Chad a
This is
No,
question
hold
Chris.
on, Chris.
from over
Hold
here
on,
in
Chris.
Clubhouse?
Clubhouse said something first. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Clubhouse.
this is Clubhouse representing from over here in Clubhouse. I'd like to ask, was it anti-Semitic when Donald Trump did not consult with Netanyahu or plan to meet with him on this trip to the Middle East?
Anti-Semitic? No.
Thank you.
If you're asking me, I'm driving down the 405 going 70 miles an hour, so I'm having a hard time hearing.
I'll ask it again. Is it anti-Semitic when Donald Trump doesn't want to deal with Netanyahu or didn't want to communicate with him as looks like on this Middle Eastern trip? He's over there in that neck of the woods, and he doesn't. Apparently, he's not planning to talk to Netanyahu.
Do you know what anti-Semitism
I
is?
don't consider that anti-Semitic. That's a political decision.
Yes,
Yes,
just kind of
exactly.
like, yeah, kind of like him trying
Anti-Semitism
to
would
have.
be I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
can
no,
I
no, no. Go
I
ahead,
want
Chris.
to say something about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. I think they both goes. What happened to to Tira's son and Cindy told her son to go get him. What about this thing has been happening to the Muslims? We call it Islamophobia, right? And right after the 9/11, you remember, a lot of these Muslims, even Muslims, American takes even, the Sikh that wears turban, they take them as Muslims. They will have to hide their identity. So when it happens to the Israelis right now, the Israel right now, or the Jewish right now, then we're complaining. This thing has been going on, just like it happened to the blacks as well. So I just thought I need to, put that in. Let's talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some black people that do some crazy shit. There's some, um, I don't know, some Muslim people that do some crazy shit. There's some Jewish people that do some crazy shit. And I think if we ever get scared to where we can't call out crazy shit, then what world are we living in?
No, I agree. And two wrongs don't make a right? So like comparing two wrongs, I'm not sure the point of that.
I agree too. Many groups are subject, or people who hate them and say horrible things. Okay, it's not, anti-Semitism is by no means the only thing that's relevant here. I'm not black, obviously, but living in this country as someone who's black, you're always aware of it. I have no doubt. I never had to tell my kids the talk, about the car. When I put my son in a car, I never said to him, be careful if you get stopped by the police. I mean, I said to him, be careful, but not, there was never anything like that. I didn't have to worry about things like that. And yes, of course, there's Islamophobia.
I would imagine the closest thing that I could possibly imagine to being Jewish and having to hide. My heart definitely went out to Tara. Like you got to hide your Jewishness at any point. That's wild. That's crazy. But I will say the closest I can imagine to that for a black person would be when they're black and they're around white folks that they kind of know don't like blacks. They got to kind of whitenize themselves. They got to kind of talk with a different kind of language. They got to speak. They got to hide their blackness, not physically, but through their verbiage and what they agree to when they talk.
That's a lie, and there's no such
That never
thing.
happens. No black people have to feel those. I think we should poll.
No, because you believe that if you speak proper, you're talking white. And there's no such
I
thing. You're
didn't say
speaking
that.
proper
That's
English.
not what I said,
It's
sir.
called code switching.
Thank you, sir.
No, it's
Educate,
not.
educate her
Y'all
on
have
code.
adopted that.
Educate her
No.
on code switching. Because
You're
Everyone,
right, Chad.
every black
It's
person is a
right.
definitely
liar.
called code
No,
switching.
that doesn't
Every
mean that it's a. I'm not going to have the code switching conversation in mixed company, but we can have it at another time. But that is a very like
I mean, that's what it's
white
called though, Chad. Like
whitewashed.
it's literally called that.
So are we
Who
going to
is
pretend
that?
that black folks don't adjust the way they deal with depending on who they're in the company of? Is that what we're saying now?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
lie.
what?
You're lying.
That's on
That's not
code
true,
switching.
man.
She just identified code switching.
What is
Like
like
No,
literally, like
it's not
literally.
going to consistently go over your head because everything that I've said has consistently gone over your head. So I am not taking the time to
You
explain to
ain't
you what
even
I mean
said
by
shit
that.
yet, Chad.
over whose head?
All right. Y'all have a good night.
You have a good night. I just first time speaking tonight, so I don't know who's over whose head she's talking about.
How did we get here?
I don't know. It was
I
a
don't
long
know. Look,
story.
we
It's
about to
been a
reset.
long journey.
But,
2025. It's been a long journey to get here. But yeah, that just there is a reality where black folks do have to adjust when they're around a whole lot of white folks in certain neighborhoods. Trust and believe to stay alive. Oh, you'll adjust for sure.
Sweet, hold
That's
on,
not true. I
Sweet, hold on,
disagree.
Sweet.
I disagree
Hey,
with that.
Okay, you
hey,
can
Pill.
disagree. Where do you live? First of all,
Hold on,
Let's.
everybody. You gotta get off cam with that.
It's a very blanket
We
Oh,
statement.
we in a
where do
okay.
you
podcast.
live? The person that said I
Okay.
disagree with that. Where do you live? Oh, okay, never
I
mind.
live in California.
Oh,
I'm
is
in
that
California.
right? Is that right? What part of
That's right.
California you live in?
I live in Northern California.
Northern California. Okay.
The Bay Area, yes.
So yeah. Okay. Okay. So because it's not real for you that you've adjusted, and were you born in America?
Uh-huh. It doesn't matter. My
Oh,
kids were
well,
born
well,
here, even
now
if I
see, no,
wasn't born
see,
here.
I know it does
And my
matter, bro,
kids,
because
listen,
what
listen.
you just
My
tried
kid,
to invalidate, you tried to invalidate that there are some black folks that when they go into certain, maybe not
you
you,
you did
but some
not say
other black
some.
folks.
You
Hold on,
said
bro.
black
Hold on. You just
folks.
hold on,
You
man.
didn't say some.
You just tried to invalidate what I said. So let me go give you some actual facts that may not be real to you ever. But the fact that some black folks understand very well whether they teach it, learn it, whatever the hell it is, they know when they're around white folks, they have to operate differently. You can
That,
argue with that all you want to, bro. But you know,
that's
wherever
not
you
true.
from,
That's not
that's
true.
not true to you. That's fine, bro. But I guarantee you're not going to invalidate that fact, man. I
Real
guarantee
quick.
you.
Hey, real quick. My African brother. Listen, you got social norms, social roles, colloquialisms, and code switching. And that's all over the globe. That's social studies and science. It's not up for debate, my brother. Like everyone does it. When you, even you like you're dealing with your parents. Imagine you're a father and you have a father and your father is trying to tell you how to father your son. You're gonna have some conflict, social conflict within you and shit. And that's how that goes, bro. It's the human condition and experience. Let's not invalidate each other because these things operate in a spectrum. Okay? Let's just address the nuances and that's it. Sensational.
So we're gonna act like we gonna sit here and act like code switching don't exist.
Because
Like
somebody in the room
you
don't want
gotta
to talk
say
about
act
it.
like
So
that.
we gonna act like it don't exist. That's crazy as hell. When you don't think Donald Trump operates different in Saudi Arabia than he would operate in the White House? Come on,
Don't you
man.
think?
Hillary
And I don't
Clinton,
want to.
Hillary
I'm
Clinton
not.
don't
Trump, Trump,
operate
Trump is in
different
a
over there
huddle
in
Can we
dancing in
stop?
Saudi Arabia.
crazy as hell,
Guys,
man.
can we let each other talk? Come on. Chat's been trying to
Hey,
get this
hey,
going.
yes, yeah, that's
One
right.
mic on chat.
Clubhouse. Yeah, hold on 1 second, Clubhouse. You guys need to stop. When moderator tell you guys to talk, you guys gonna be talking right now. So right now, the chatter is gonna be speaking right now. So you guys talking on top of each other, and this room is already recording. And it's not gonna be sound good. So let chatter finish, and then you guys can talk. This is sound horrible to everybody listening here. Go ahead, whoever was talking in chatter.
Yeah, I don't want to invalidate what anybody said, and I can't speak for. It's hard to speak outside of my own personal experience, but I feel like um, there's many times we have to adjust based on our environment, and we learn over time, you know, to gain better expertise as to how to do that. Now, I also say that I've been in places where some people don't adjust, and it's quite embarrassing. I was in China about a little over a year ago, and there were some highfalutin folks from. I was the only. There were three Caucasians there, and the rest were all people from, Mandarin people from China, and at a large manufacturing plant. And there were some highfalutin folks from New York, like design.
Laura, I'm sorry. I told people not to interrupt, but it's really hard to hear you. Is there any way
Okay,
you
I'll
can
wait.
put it close?
Yeah,
Well, no, we want to hear what you have to
yeah.
say, but
Let
if,
me get my headset. Let me get my headset.
We gonna
All right.
still act like code switching don't exist.
Yeah, so Sweet. I think you were talking to.
Yeah, I was talking about the fact. It's a fact, man. It's called survival. So it's what you have to do when you're living around certain environments that don't
Hey, look, that
appreciate
good
you.
old code switch, right? Like that good
Hey,
old.
Hell yeah, it's called survival, man. When in Rome, you better speak the Roman language, or else it's gonna be rough.
You understand me?
You know what I'm
so
saying?
hey, I want to know what's the conversation we having here? What's the topic? What are we debating?
Well, it started
Did
from
we lose
talking
that or we
about.
back?
Is code switching
Let me
real?
try.
That's not progressive. So what are we talking about here?
I don't know
Hey
about
Jay, this
progressive
is
or
the
progressive.
topics right there. Is the president of the Trump family's business for the plane we're talking about that Qatar they give him a gift. So that what we were talking about from the beginning. Now these people are talking about something else. So if you want to go back to topic, go ahead, Jay. You're more than welcome.
Nah, I'm just curious because I'm just like lost here. One minute we talking about Diddy, then we talking about Trump. Now we talking about some shit that's not
Let me tell you. Well,
fucking progressive.
Cindy,
I
yeah,
don't know.
Cindy mentioned that she sent her son. She offered to send her son to help out Tara, who was dealing with, the fact that they're Jewish on campus. And Cindy offered to send her sons for security to help out Tara. And Tara was talking about how she had to tell her children, her son, hide her Jewishness when all the craziness was going on campus. That's how we got here talking about
I like a
code
code
switching.
switch to me.
That's how we were talking about how she had to hide her Jewishness and tell her son, hey, don't let it be known you Jewish so you can still be here tomorrow. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Survival.
because it was a scary time. I mean, at Georgia Tech, my daughter, at the Jewish fraternity house, they put a swastika on it, and the kids, it was a very, very difficult time, as we know, and it was a very scary time on campuses because my daughter was dealing with that as well, and she just graduated, but she was part of the Hillel leadership, a Jewish organization on campus, and she's just wrapped up being the president. So those were very, very challenging times, and they were very challenging times for kids, young youth, young adults that were friends, and then they had different opinions, and dealing with that and living in the same sorority houses or dorms. Or I mean, I do have a lot of respect for how the colleges came together, and some, and not all of them, but various colleges came together, and kids had to go through that learning experience. But it was a scary time.
Did you say Georgia Tech?
Yeah, Georgia Tech. My daughter just graduated Georgia Tech, but the AE Pie House had a huge swastika put on it during that time and during that period.
Oh,
It
them
was very
folks
scary.
didn't. Yeah, them folks didn't go to Georgia Tech.
Why are
Them
you
folks
saying
didn't.
no
Cause
to Georgia Tech? What's wrong with Georgia Tech?
nah, nah, nah. I'm saying them folks didn't go to Georgia Tech that did that. Like because I mean, if anybody
How do
know
you know
anything
that? How do
about,
you know that they weren't?
I live in
Uh,
Atlanta.
I live in Atlanta too, but let's go back and do you have the proof? Let's see. I don't
No,
know.
no,
I
no.
can't
I'm
see.
just saying, like, if you understand that area of
No,
town,
I know that I'm fifth generation. My family is fifth generation Georgia Tech. My grandson is seventh generation. So
right?
there were a year ago at the commencement, there were many, many graduates that came across the commencement stage with Palestinian flags. This year, I was there were only two, right? And everybody was calm, and people can support whomever they decide to support. I don't judge that, but this year it was calm. Last
The
year,
reason
last
why I
year it
say
wasn't
that
so
is because
calm.
the reason why I say that is because that's downtown Atlanta. That's
No, it's
down.
Midtown. It
Yeah, I
could,
mean
but I
that's
wouldn't
mid to
assume. I wouldn't
downtown,
assume
but
that there weren't students that did that. Let's get the stats right. We can't assume that. I can look it up.
all I know is if I mean that's not too far from. You said that was at the sorority house that your daughter
It's
was
at
at,
the AE Pi fraternity house which is a
a
longtime
fraternity
Jewish fraternity
house.
house, because in the South, which I think it's horrible, quite frankly, is there's still, in my opinion, segregated organ. Now, if you would just say, okay, it's a social organization, that's great. But as somebody that grew up Jewish, I freaking couldn't fucking stand. Sorry that I couldn't get into Tridelt or certain. And that I was a little sister of a Jewish frat as opposed to just a fraternity. It's
Yeah,
very,
and
yeah, I didn't like
yeah,
it.
Well, we
yeah. I
got the
mean
D9, Laura. We got the D9.
that's just like right next to Pittsburgh. So, I mean, if someone would have seen that, and you know how those water boys and everything be out there like all times of night. I mean, how can you really get away with that without getting your ass whooped?
Well,
I'm
first
just
of all,
saying.
Pittsburgh is pretty much East Atlanta. We're talking about, and Georgia Tech
It's
is
not.
pretty.
Pittsburgh is not East Atlanta.
Well, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh is
is
not East Atlanta. That is
okay, 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 okay,
like
okay, okay. It's late. It's a little. It's not as close to Georgia Tech. And
yes, it
my point
is.
is,
It's right there, right beside it.
Well, let him make his point, Phil.
Go
I'll
Go
ahead.
put
ahead,
the
John.
article. Are you trying to
well,
argue that it didn't
Well, hold
happen?
on.
Are you
Wait.
just saying, because I have the article? I don't
No, I'm
understand.
not saying that it didn't
Okay.
happen, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that
my
there was
second,
definitely some
my,
consequences and repercussions for that.
my
Jewish
second
Like
point
if
is,
they
fraternity
did that.
vandalized at
Okay.
Georgia
Well, hold
Tech.
on. Hold on.
October 16th, 2023. And I'll put it at a Jewish fraternity house of Georgia Tech was vandalized on October 14th. Fraternity members woke up to the words "Free Palestine" written in shaving cream directly below an Israeli banner at the Alpha Epsilon Pi house, which still to this day is there. House on Techwood Drive. And by the way, my dad is a room dedicated to my dad because from my family at that house. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. Now that was back then. Anyway, I'll put it in the chat. It was
yeah. So my second point is Georgia Tech. You're not on Georgia Tech campus unless pretty much you need to be over there. It's kind of secluded, even though it's an open campus.
What are you saying? That's like the campus is right in the middle of the city.
Oh God, I can't have this
that's right.
conversation.
You go get a naked hot dog with French fries and onion rings
What are you saying?
and a
Like it's
frosty, and
all
then
throughout
walk
the
10 feet,
city.
100 feet, and you're at the
You,
API house.
right, but what I'm
You're at the
saying
Henry
is,
Dots.
what I'm saying, no one goes to Georgia Tech campus unless they have business over there, although it's an open campus.
That's not true.
Exactly, it's not true. I mean, it's and the kids live on Spring Street and Fourth. I was just there. My kids living on not far from the North Avenue MARTA station. It's all a fusion, right? So it's not just what's it's the kids are living all over that area, Midtown, mixed in with lots of
Yeah,
people. Come on.
Midtown, downtown, damn near Buckhead, all of that. Like, bro, they be all around the city, and then not only that, you can access Georgia Tech campus with ease,
No one
literally.
said you couldn't access the campus. What I'm saying is, unless you have business, you're a student or work in the area, you're not pretty much on the campus.
Yes, you are. You ride through the campus all the time. If you go into Pittsburgh, if you get off of 85, going off of 85, going 85 75 or 75 85, however you look at it, if you get off right there on Spring Street, like she said, right there, off of there, and then you get off of 10th Street right there, like you're at Georgia Tech. You're at Georgia Tech right there. Like if you go like 2 miles down from the varsity, that is Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it's literally like a
What
hundred
you mean?
yards from the frickin' varsity. Come on, I
You
was
know
just
what I'm saying?
but I'm not sure why you're even. It doesn't matter. Like there's restaurants there. Like you want to go to Shack? Oh, isn't it Shack's Pizza Places right there, folks? In on the campus.
Nah, and then you go to Goodfellas was right there. Goodfellas was not too far away from there neither, right there across from the BP. Like literally, like so it's like
What's
literally
the point?
right.
And
It,
there is a lot of
That's all
campuses.
right, Laura. Go back and
There
forth
is a
with
lot
Tiff.
of
You got it.
actually.
nah, it's not no going back and forth with me. She's actually agreeing with me because it's right there. Like Georgia Tech is the heart of the city, literally. So if they did that at the heart of the city, there was definitely some. The only reason why I was telling her that is that there was definitely some consequences and repercussions for whoever did it. Because number one, you got the water boys that's out there all the time. Number one, that's one thing. Number two, you got APD that's out there all the time, which is predominantly black. Like, so you got a lot of people out there in the city of Atlanta that if they did that, like how they did it, there was some consequences and repercussions for them people that they didn't do it again.
But what I'm saying, if you go into the frat houses, it's secluded area. Only if you have business in that area, that's where you're gonna
It's
be at.
not though. It's
I'm
not though.
okay. You're right.
It's not though. Like it's right off of the main streets.
It's
Because there's
behind
So,
Town
Chris,
Center.
what you're
35,
saying
there's
is
30, there's 34 frat and sorority houses, and they are literally walking distance to the varsity. So I think what we're saying is it's super easy for any, plenty of people can drive through there. It's obviously highly, you got a lot of police, you probably got a lot of video surveillance, you got a lot of protection of those students for sure, right? But they are
Get the
super
water
close
boys.
to
Don't forget the water
what is the
boys.
water? Can you
Man,
explain it? I'm
listen,
sorry.
ain't no
What
water
is a
oh
boys
water?
talking
my
about the frat
god.
houses, man. Trust me on this. Like
So,
Ain't
seriously.
no, ain't no. So I was actually just out there, right, a couple of weeks ago. And first and foremost, ain't no water boys hanging around none of them Georgia Tech frat houses.
That
Not
is
like that. I'm not saying, I'm not, hold on, let me finish, bro. I'm not saying they haven't passed by through there. I'm not saying they probably ain't done no business in there, but I guarantee they're not hanging out in there. And then to Jay, bro, no, they they're put aside because it's a college campus. I mean, yes, like Laurel said, they got security and this, that, and the third. I mean, the average person isn't there if they don't have a set business. But at the same time, bro, it's wide open. People go there all the time. Hell, I was just visiting some people there. You know what I'm saying? So you really don't need much credentials to pull up to any frat house or anything like that. I mean, you'll maybe need to get inside, but to show up to just be there, nah, bro. I mean, you can pull up to damn near any college campus around America, for the most part.
what I was saying, Marty. I wasn't saying it like that. I was saying more like if you get off of the expressway right there off of Spring Street or 10th Street or 14th Street right there, like if you get off on that shoulder, them water boys right there. So and them that's where Georgia Tech is. So yeah, that's all I was saying.
But you're not saying people Shannon Sharpen it on Georgia Tech campus because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're saying people
He might be
coming to the
over there. Like
campus.
to be real, he might be over there for
No,
real.
no, I'm talking about the public of Atlanta because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Georgia Tech is the kicking it place for the city, and that's what they're saying that it's not. It's secluded to where people just go to the campus if they have business at the campus. And
That's not
outside,
true. That's not true. That's not true. Like
that's
Georgia
but I'm
Tech
that's
be
sure it is
cracking.
highly policed, right? I don't know exactly where
Oh
this
yeah, it's highly
conversation is
policed,
going.
but it's highly
Yeah, I mean,
policed, but it's just definitely not like what you think. Like
yeah, I mean,
it,
I felt my kid was safe staying, going to Georgia Tech for and my kid still lives in that area through summer. So, but definitely she grew up by going to a school in an urban area as opposed to going to University of Alabama and to whatever it's called, to what's that area?
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa. Yeah, sorry, I
Like,
can't say it. Tuscaloosa. I tell you what, that campus, holy moly! Talk about Southern. Holy,
man,
have you ever seen that stadium? Woo,
playing at
huge.
Clemson, like I remember like I ain't even gonna lie to you, like I grew up like around here when I
You
moved
played
from
at
California.
Clemson?
Yeah, yeah, like my freshman year.
What you
But
played?
DB. But at the end of the day, like when I first went there from here, I didn't understand Georgia Tech until I came back here, right? And Georgia Tech was just like, this is completely different than Clemson. Because Clemson is exactly the way that y'all describing it, right? Like, but Georgia Tech is nothing like that. Georgia Tech, you can do whatever you want to do on Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. And the thing is that that's the ACC as well. So we already had to see them already. So it was when I went out there, man, like, and it was crazy because I lived here and never visited Georgia Tech that much. So it was just kind of like, dang, like I didn't know y'all was this open. Like it was just part of the city. What Georgia Tech is just part of Midtown. That's all.
I mean, there's
It
many
used to be
universities
most
like
of it.
that.
Oh, sorry, Marty. Go ahead.
No, 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 you're fine. I was just saying there's many universities that are like that. I get what you're saying. But yeah, there's many universities where you're downtown, or you think you're downtown, but you're in the middle of a college campus, and vice versa, or they're kind of embedded within each other because this is how it's set up. But yeah, that's definitely
Yeah,
several universities like that.
100%. And those universities and the success of those universities have made a huge impact in their gentrification of those areas, right? So you look at Midtown
Absolutely.
Atlanta, Georgia Tech. It's had, and I went to University of Chicago Booth Graduate School for business for my MBA. And Hyde Park was not, talk about Hyde Park versus Midtown Atlanta. Hyde Park in the day was not an easy place to be. But what University of Chicago has done to Hyde Park due to it being there, you look at South Bend, Indiana, and Notre Dame, and how certain areas of South Bend are a whole lot better
Yo,
than
right,
right, right,
right. Oh my
right.
God, that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
one you just
Oh, if
mentioned
you
right
think
there, Notre
about
Dame.
if you think about USC and UCLA, right? UCLA is in Beverly Hills. Like, but if you really think about it, USC is in the heart of Inglewood. Like,
It's
that's
not in
in the
Inglewood. It's not in
hood.
Inglewood. It's
Like,
in the
it's in
hood.
the hood.
Not in Inglewood though.
Well, not in Inglewood, but like
It's
it's in the
definitely in the
hood.
hood.
It's in the hood. It's not in like it's in South Central LA.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think Notre Dame is one of the bigger ones that when you if you drive driving to get to that stadium from not a certain part of town, you'll be like, what the hell, where the hell are you taking me? Or you're going to the no, that was definitely one that's made a major change in Indiana.
100%. And during the pandemic, I worked on the tarmac for fun and to be able to travel for free during the pandemic at the South Bend Airport for about 6 months.
Clutch.
Yeah, to your point about UCLA, when you're not on the campus of UCLA, you're immediately in Beverly Hills. So opposed to if you're not on the campus at USC and you step outside of that, yeah, you're right there in the neighborhood for sure.
You in the hood.
Yeah,
You in South Central LA.
yeah, you're
Like I saw
close to
that from
downtown.
I saw that on a visit. I saw that on a visit. I was like, damn.
Yeah, you go
Like,
in
are
one
you
direction,
serious?
you right over there, and you go a mile in one direction, yeah, you right in the hood. Versus another mile the other direction, you're right in downtown LA. So yeah, you
Now, I'm not gonna compare no Cali hood to no Florida hood, but
Nah, but see the thing. Oh, go ahead.
But hear me out. No, 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 no. Hear me out. Hear me out. I was just saying Bethune Cookman University, predominantly black college in Florida, Daytona, Florida. Now that is a school. That is a university that you see how we're just saying you have those that are embedded with downtown. That one's embedded with the hood. I mean, you got catfish and fries being sold next to the damn library. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's one of those ones. That's one of those ones on the way to chemistry. You stop and get you a fresh white tea from the corner store. You know what I'm saying? That's
Bro,
that type of
listen, we used to
university
go
over
to
there.
Anderson over there when I was at Clemson, bro. Like we used to go to Anderson to go get the food, the barbecue, like the good fried shit. We understood to go to Auntie house, you know what I'm saying? Go to Auntie house over there, you know what I'm saying, where they had the HBCUs and everything, and down in Anderson, South Carolina. Like dude, we knew that, but that's the thing though. Like I had a choice. I could go to all three. Like I was top, one never mind, corner.
Oh, what
But
about in Atlanta? You got
basically like
Morehouse. Oh, go ahead.
nah, I mean I didn't want to stay in Atlanta. Like so I was just basically like, yo, wherever and my dad played for Clemson, so that's why I committed to Clemson. Right. So I was like, you know what? Like UCLA, USC, and then it was Clemson. Right. And I was like, I had a couple other offers like South Carolina State. I had a couple other offers like Texas and everything else, but I really didn't care about those. Um, but my main one was USC and it was Clemson. And when I went to USC, I was like, wait a minute. I used to live out here when I was a little boy. right? And when I walked outside of that campus and I realized there was gang banging going on, I was like, nah, I'm going back. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I'm going to go head my ass back to South Carolina. You
But
know
you
what
know
I'm
what's
saying?
interesting?
Like, I'll
What's
go ahead and go to
interesting now though
Clemson. My
is
dad went there anyway.
what's interesting now about USC though is nowadays if you're on the campus and around, it's almost like a Fort Knox to some extent. You know, it's so you're on that campus. It's like a whole nother world. Literally a couple blocks away is different, but it's even downtown LA is like that. Like there's certain parts of downtown LA like you like probably in the safest part of the area because it's so regulated by security and cameras and all the homeless is just like
Jonathan, that was 2010 when I went.
yeah 4 or 5 blocks away
Well,
from
2009, 2009.
yeah different it's evolved different now but it's getting to the point now where certain neighborhoods um certain people won't even gravitate over into certain neighborhoods because it's so regulated it's Culver City and different places are different and it's just in a short few mile radius, you know, if you over in that area at a certain time of the night, you're gonna get, they don't allow people to just be roaming around certain areas.
And then they got that other big ass school out there, like this real nice ass school out there. But it's out like closer towards when you leave in
You talking
Inglewood.
about
Like if you was leaving
Loyola Marymount?
LAX.
You talking about Loyola Marymount?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
kind of like
That one.
yeah, go close to the
It's
airport.
nice as shit.
Yeah, it's real nice over there. You straight over there,
Yeah.
Marina Del Rey. You good. You close to the beach. Yeah, you right there. It's a whole different. That's the thing about LA is that
Yep. They got the good like seafood restaurants and all that good shit over there.
Whole
Yeah.
Foods, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, you go over there
Mm-hmm.
to Manhattan Beach, right there. Yeah, Venice. Yeah, it's different. It's different depending just in a mile radius, a mile, 2 or 3 mile difference in LA is totally different. People might live in the hood 5 miles from the beach, and they'll never go to the beach ever. It's a trip. They just don't
Bro,
do it.
that
And
shit be crazy.
yeah,
Now I know Georgia Tech spends a lot of money on the West Side Fund, which when the stadium came over there with Arthur Blank, they did a lot of work on the West Side. But if anything, I'm more impressed with Georgia State's contribution to gentrification when they took over the stadium over there um,
You talking about the
and redoing Summer Hill.
Yeah, you talking about Turner Field?
Yeah, not Turner Field, the stadium.
Yeah, it's Turner Field. It's
No, I'm
Turner
talking
Field.
about the baseball, the Braves move.
Yeah, the Turner
You
Field. That's
mean
Turner
yeah,
Field.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
okay,
Turner
in the
okay.
Field.
battery. The
Yeah.
battery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nah,
what
the
they
so
did.
battery is over there. The
the
battery
battery's
is over there
northwest.
in yeah, that's in like Smyrna,
Smyrna,
Marietta.
that's the Braves
Yeah,
field.
like, but if you think about it,
You're talking the dome, the
like,
Georgia
yeah,
Dome?
nah. What they did was Georgia State went and took the Turner field and
Right,
made it their
right,
field.
right, right,
And they
right.
purchased all those properties over there.
Right, right,
I
right,
mean, it's
Yeah.
to
right.
the point now that
Yeah.
Marta is redoing their whole bus line
Yep,
wrapped around
yep,
Summer Hill.
yep, yep, yep. Marta needs a freaking improvement, man.
Well, well, the
I
thing
mean,
is that the thing is Marta gets a lot of resistance from the city. There's been a bad relationship throughout the years
that's
with the city
sad.
of Atlanta and
It's
Marta.
because of crime. It's
Well,
because of
yeah,
crime.
I
it's
mean, I
because
take it every time I land in Atlanta. I use Marta on
But if
some
you think
all
about it,
hours a day.
it's not the safest. It's not the safest thing to do.
Well, I
Like if
just
you
get on
really
there. I
think
Marta's
start
about
not that
talking to
bad.
people. You know
it.
what? When you start talking to people, all of a sudden you're not individual. You're part of a group, and it's fine.
Well, you know what it is, right? Like it's definitely the fact that you got a lot of homeless veterans out here, right? A lot of homeless veterans with mental health issues, and a lot of those cats they commit crimes because they really can't help themselves. To be honest with you, like, and it's nobody there to help them. Nobody there to help them. They just ship them out and they just like say, "Go wherever we don't want to see you at in Atlanta."
Well,
That's what
because the
Yeah,
city,
that's
happens.
on every
because the
city in
city,
our
You know what I'm
country,
yeah,
saying?
but
right?
Yeah.
it's not just homeless veterans. The city shut down three. homeless shelters. Number one, so the city's dealing with a, the city's dealing with the issue by itself with homeless sleeping on the bridge and stuff like that. And every year it's a dog. Every time there's a re-election, every time there's a big event that comes to Atlanta, like the World Cup, the Super Bowl. The city starts to clean all that stuff up, and what I mean by that is they start shipping homeless people out. So you'll start seeing it's like actually it's they already started the process. And what's going to be really interesting is 5 Points. MARTA and the city of Atlanta are about to redo 5 Points. You're going to be able to see a major shift.
You talking about 5 points or little 5 points?
No, 5 Points. The
Okay.
station. Yeah, you're going to
Yeah.
see a major shift coming with all the people that hang out over there. That shit's about to go.
Because they
It's about
already
to
did
move.
it to little 5 points.
Yeah.
And you
So, but
know,
every time there's a major event, the city has to they have to put on for the city. They clear people out. They'll probably start shipping down people to Houston, New Orleans, or wherever they're going. I don't know.
well,
Some to
we're
Austin. I
about
don't
to
know.
see that in LA. I just saw how Governor Newsom, just I think last week or a few days ago, about the homeless and some stuff that he's about to really go into motion with what people already knew was going to happen because the Olympics is going to be here 2028. 2026 is going to be the World Cup right here in LA. And that's going to definitely be right there downtown. They got the main.
Man, look, I started to see them do that out there in Van Nuys when I was
Mhm,
anyway. But I was out there a couple years ago. I was in Van Nuys. I was out there at Lake Balboa, and I saw
mhm.
all of them out there. And then a day later, bro, I literally started seeing like the sheriffs moving them out of there.
Here's another interesting development. The SoFi Stadium, you was talking about football stadiums a minute ago, and how the rail system in LA, the football stadium, the SoFi Stadium, and then now with the opening ceremony is going to be at the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. So already, if you go over there by the SoFi Stadium, right across the street, the Clippers just built their stadium this year. So they're playing in there for the first time this year, just past this year, Clippers and stuff. They used to share the same stadium in downtown LA with the Staples Center with the Lakers, but up until this past year. So they built that $2 billion stadium, Steve Ballmer. And if you go in that whole area, it's again like a whole different area now. Like SoFi Stadium across the street, they got all kind of different workout, nice, beautiful gym, very elite-ish. But again, if you go in that area, you're not going to just be some vagrant. If you're not on a mission and purpose to go to some business up in there or do something, like I think they got like a YouTube studio thing. They got it's a lot of entertainment type stuff, and they're still building even more condos. And so in that little one, not even probably one
I was
mile
over
radius.
there. I went to a Rams game over there because I'm a Rams fan.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real with you. Like it looked like a whole different situation. Like it looked like it wasn't even Inglewood no more.
Exactly, and that's it's creeping, and that's creeping out, and they got the rail and everything. They still that they just recently built right to the airport, first time ever. You could get off an airplane, like we talked about Atlanta and stuff. You can get off an airplane, get on that rail, and go straight to downtown LA. Might have to get on a couple trains, but and you could pass right through there. That's all new. So what they call gentrification, and the thing about people in surviving and progress, it's always making things new. And if you're not keeping up with the times, you will just get left beyond a shadow of a doubt, especially in LA.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems too, in Atlanta is at one time they were talking about using the city detention, Atlanta's detention center, the house of homeless. That's how bad that shit is. Because everybody was going over to Rice Street. But the problem with Rice Street is the county. The problem with the county street, the county is that shit need to be renovated. So
Mm.
they can't do anything. Everything is at a standstill. And there has to be leadership that's willing to
They need
change
to
that.
shit. They need to tear down Rice Street and make a whole new Rice Street.
Right.
Like that. That is terrible. Like how them folks living in there. Like that. That's terrible, dog. Like you shouldn't have to live like that just because you committed a crime. I understand that you committed a crime, but I mean those are still humans.
Yeah, I agree. There was a time where somebody on the city council motioned that sending those inmates out of state until they renovate the whole place. But the problem is it does not. What are you going to do in time for the new wave of criminals coming in there? And they need a process.
Well,
There's
they
no.
started sending them to Cobb County.
Was that right?
Yeah,
Cobb County.
they started sending them to Cobb County.
Wow.
Like that's where Young Thug was at. The Young Thug was in Cobb County because they didn't have nowhere to house people. I mean, the reason why some of his co-defendants was there was because at the end of the day, like they was already there. But other than that, like nah, like people wasn't going. I've been in Rice Street before, bro. Rice Street is terrible. Rice Street is terrible. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, they need to really that goes back to that damn leadership over there. I don't know what they doing with that money. They're not putting no
Nah,
money
Fonnie
into it.
Willis, Fonnie Willis. You know what that does. You know what
Yeah,
Fonnie Willis do.
yeah.
You know, we all know about the Gorilla Grip Coochie Thumper. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, we all know about Nathan Wade. We all know about that. Oh, she keep $1 million under her bed because her daddy always told her to. You know, we all, we know about all that.
Well, she 0 for 2 right now between Trump and Young Thug.
She 0 for 2. She about to be 0 for 3 with little baby.
Oh, I forgot about that case.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous. Like she literally has put a whole thing about gangs in Atlanta, and really gangs are not that prominent in Atlanta like how it is in LA, Jonathan. You feel what I'm saying? Like gangs are very, very. I would say, I would say they're not really like they don't follow those same politics like they do over there. You know what I'm saying? They don't follow those same politics. So she is trying to make it like it is that in Atlanta, and it's not really that in Atlanta. It's not really that at all.
Let me share this little piece with you that just happened a day ago. I was telling y'all about, and over in over in LA, he says this. Governor Gavin Newsom on Monday again urged California cities and counties to ban homeless encampments, increasing his pressure campaign on local governments to follow the state's lead and remove tents from sidewalks and other public property. He says, it's time to take back the streets, Newsom said during a virtual press conference. It's time to take back the sidewalks. It's time to take these encampments and provide alternatives. And the state is giving you more resources than ever. And it's time, I think, to just end the excuses. So he's going to put $3.3 billion into some kind of a game plan. But they
So
got
wait a minute. So what they're gonna do is move those campers as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what they're saying. And so he's got some kind of a model. I haven't studied it, but like a model thing of how to handle it, and just start. Because if you go over there, certain like Fifth Street, and man, it's like notoriously, there's like addresses for these tents, and it's a whole world over there. That's
Well, there's 609% of the 7.1 million lack of affordable housing units in the United States. Number one area is New York. It's like 700,000 and LA is 600,000. So you got 1.3 million of the 7 million ish of that challenge of a lack of affordable housing, which multiplied by 2 to 3 people, right? We got what do we have? 14 to 20 million people in this country that don't have affordable housing. It's a massive problem. So they're living in tents and trailers and other types of makes they're crashing on people's couches. It's not fun. It's self-reliance. They don't feel good about themselves,
You know,
right?
like one thing that I didn't understand about California, and this just came from the last 2 years of me recognizing this. From I was rocking with somebody out there in LA, and I was rocking with somebody in the Valley, and just looking at how y'all power bills work, like y'all water bills work, like y'all energy bills work, like that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Dude, the water restrictions, like, oh my God. Like, how do you expect for anything to stay healthy? How do you
I
expect
paid
for
487 a gallon for gas today. I'm in LA. I was in Beverly Hills for dinner and I'm in LA. I'm in Long Beach area, but 487 a gallon.
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like the prices, out there. I mean, I'm just asking why. Why is it like
Well,
that?
well, that's a funny when you asked that question, but just on this alone, for example, the other Newsom said it's receiving billions of in state funding. In spite of that, homelessness is a challenging political issue in California, driven largely by the high cost of living in the state, lack of affordable housing, and a shortage of behavioral health and drug treatment opportunities. The lack of progress threatens to define the legacy of the state's 40th governor, who repeatedly blames the cities and the counties for not doing
Sounds
more.
like bullshit to me.
Yeah, without for not doing more, despite receiving billions in state funding. So it comes down to mismanagement at the end of the day,
Nah,
and
but
not
so
having a.
what I've been told though, Jonathan, was that I mean, from the people that live there, right? Like, because I got real deep ties over there. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like it sounds like a lot of privately owned companies
No doubt.
ordering those resources. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of hoarding those resources.
No doubt
Like
about it, and the big money, the people in the cities, and they're not looking out for the masses, and so they funneling off that, and it comes from Sacramento. Governor Newsom, you know, he wants to point the blame other places, but it starts in Sacramento, federal funding and state money, whatever, and they allocate it, and then there's nothing in place to make it go where it's supposed to go, and then you got people, you know, siphoning it off at the top, looking out for themselves, and the infrastructures and all kind of stuff just don't get handled. So
correct me if I'm wrong now. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if I mean, it sounded like when those fires was going on, like the state was calling for these privately owned companies to allow them access to the water supplies, right? And
yeah,
they were saying no.
now there was and not only that, a lot of these rich, wealthy families that in the rich parts, a lot of places were rich that got burnt up, but
Excuse me.
but the reality
Sweet.
was I'm gonna say this real quick.
Excuse me.
A lot of
My hand has been raised on Clubhouse, so I don't know if
uh,
you're looking at hand raising,
I'm
but
not I'm not.
yeah, you're the only one on stage. So can you bring me up and mod me so that I can shut the room down?
Let
Thanks.
me see. Let me see. Let me check because it says Jonathan, but yeah, this is actually sweet. But let me go over there and check and see what's happening.
Right up
Okay,
to it.
gotcha. Invite as speaker chat. Beautiful.
Yeah, I know that's sweet. Yeah, I'm just saying that shit. No, I don't know.
No, but it's yeah, but oh, to your point, number one, they're saying now there was electric fire, electric company wiring started that whole thing. Number one, number two, a lot of the money went to like they talk about welfare money. Oh, a lot of these families that ended up with nothing, they started getting some money sent to them, and you're looking out for them. So you know, so it's kind of like, what about the rest of the whole city and state? There's a lot of things going on, but I'll tell you this: the water issue in California is a thing, and that's why they try to, like you were talking about, parsing it out and trying to. It's getting ready. Probably some are saying it's going to be a hot summer in Cali this year. It's already hot right now, the last couple of days. But so they're saying, you know, look forward to some real heat, which probably bring some fires, which will probably bring just the water issue again because go study the Owens Valley. It's a good little 18-minute video on YouTube. Owens Valley and the water that came into LA. 200 some miles away, they got it. That water flowed. It dried up pretty much now, but that's where the water was coming from. And so it's a real thing when you're talking about 40 million people in California. And I think like 9 million or so in LA County, something like that. Last time I checked. So it's a lot. It's a big thing, and so conserving that water and using it properly and all stuff like that, especially if it doesn't rain like they expected or wanted to, it's a real thing. So yeah, all those
Yeah,
issues.
like, but when Trump actually let the water out, he did no benefit to California. I hope you all know that. The water rights in California have been an issue for decades, beyond decades. I mean, California itself is a huge agricultural country as well as a huge piece of property in terms of state, in terms of land. So you have to understand the water rights have been an issue for decades and decades and decades. So when Trump let all that water out, it was wasted water. So it's not as simple as you think. You want to claim it is. That's what I really want to make sure you understand.
I'm not saying it's simple at all. I'm just talking about the problem. I'm not solving it. I'm not saying it's simple at all. Be crystal clear. And but I'm just saying so. It's a thing, and but again, affordable housing. See, LA is driven a lot by Hollywood, and if you got money, and it's just this kind of idea of things just get more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. But when you got that many people, this is what leads to the homelessness. Is and you don't have enough industry, you don't have enough affordable type housing for everyday people. There's not enough money being generated for every single person to live and pay these certain kind of prices. So it got untenable, and now it's to the point where, like you said, $4.80 some. And that probably wasn't the most expensive. That was probably the 87 that you paid for. You could have paid $5, and if you'd have got the good gas in different places, you could have paid
Bro,
$5.29.
I'm about to say when I was out in the
100%.
valley, it was like 518.
Yeah, 569,
Yeah,
I
no,
believe.
I got the cheaper gas, and this is the problem. The average median income is 75 grand, and the average median rent or household cost is $2,800 a month. That's about $35,000 a year.
Understand
So
how you
that
calculate
doesn't
that.
pencil. That doesn't pencil for those like there's 30 to if for your home cost, right, just the rent to cost you 30 to 50% of what you bring home, that's a train wreck.
But
And so
watch
you have
this.
hardworking families, right,
Mhm.
that are I'm actually working on, I'm not going to share at this point, but I'm working and hopefully it'll scale one day to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across America. But I'm working on a project to help do my part to impact in a big way the affordable housing crisis.
But let me
And
say that's a
it's
great
a
thing.
massive issue because I know myself personally. I've gone from, and some people know my story. I've gone from comfortable as a kid, and then to having, to doing it all on my own, which was a great lesson. Lots of loans, undergrad and graduate school. Worked my way to $2 million homes myself and a family that I helped raise, and then multimillionaire to lose it all and start from scratch again. And so I know what it feels like. And look, it's not woe is me again because I have a lot to lean on, but it fucking sucks when you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You don't know if you're going to be able to, like, what do I buy, food or gas, or I don't even have a car, or where am I going to get sleep the next day,
Well, let
or
me tell you
crashing
something.
on a friend's couch. And so that self-reliance, that ability and that's why I bet there's a big correlation in mental illness from those people that don't have affordable housing because they don't feel self-reliant, and many of them are working 40, 60 hour, they're working a job plus doing Uber if they have a car.
But let me say this. But let me say this.
One second. I'm gonna slide in the last reset. And make an announcement. Thank y'all for joining us in Debate the News this evening and today and this morning. Okay, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Don't forget to like tonight's episode, and other episodes. Don't forget to give us a rating, and don't forget to come back and join us tomorrow. Oh, by the way, if you are on CH, I put Tyson and I have put some invites over there in the chat. The after party is over here on Chatter right now. So download the Chatter app and then click that invite link. Go ahead and click it and save it for later. And then come on over to Chatter and join us for the after party. By the way, tomorrow, okay, we have Debate the News Local, which is led by two. If you come in tomorrow, we had play by play of the Diddy trial today, and we will do the same tomorrow with live updates. That is going to start around 12:30 Eastern, I believe, and we had so much fun. So, you guys, we don't just have debate the news, but we have debate the news, local news, and we have debate the news, true crime, which is led by Joseph and Adrian. So, you guys, the news just doesn't stop with the podcast; it also continues here on Chatter. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What I was going to say about when we talk about the average income, See, when you talk about California and LA, when you talk about the averages, factored into that average is some folks making millions of dollars is a part of the average when they talk about the average income. And then you've got, but what balances it down to where you said, I think she said 75,000 or
Yeah, for
23.
median.
Right. That's the median. Okay. But understand something. So in order for that average to average out, that means there's a whole bunch of folks down there damn near making nothing. That's part of that average. That's making really,
Right. So the median is different than the mean. The mean is the
I get
average,
it.
right?
I
That
get it.
affects the zero and the million, but the median is more the bell curve right in the middle. The median is what I like to look at, not the mean. The
Well,
mean is the average.
nah, but
That
still,
median, that median, hold on 1 minute. That median is not impacted by the people that have a billion. The median is right in the middle. It's
either way,
based on quantity. It's not,
I
it
I
doesn't
get it.
impact, it's
I
that's
get it.
not the
But
mean.
when you look at a bell curve,
In
when you talk about
California, if you make under $80,000, you're under
you're broke,
considered low income.
absolutely.
$80,000.
But understand, even that medium, go with the bell curve. Either way you want to talk about it, and you go all the way to one extreme. And but even still, that's a lot of people. When you get away from that median on the poor side, you still when you're talking about if you factoring in 9 million people talking about the median, well, basically on one side, then you got 4.5 million. On the other side, you got 4.5 million. That's what you're talking about. And so when you talk about the median, so when you get closer, you get to 60,000, 55,000, 40,000, 30,000 a year. That's a good chunk of people, is my point. Even when you get down to 15,000, that's a lot of folks from 15,000 and under in that boat. And you put all them in the society running around. And now throw in this 900,000 people are affected by the ships that come into that harbor in Long Beach and that are affected by those jobs. In the LA County alone area, there's 900,000 people that are affected by that. What comes off of them ships or not? The distribution, the warehouses, the whole nine. It's another 9 million all across America, but just in that immediate market, so just know that that's basically the volume just got turned up on the heat of how things are going to be looking in the days to come in that LA market with all that new stuff as far as them China shipments that ain't coming through. There's a lot of folks that got even less money now than ever.
I think he's taken a step back around tariffs, okay? I mean, now he's focused on his $400 million Qatar plane that's going to cost $2.5 million to actually make sure it's actually safe, and actually take care of, for the next 4 years if you were to accept the Qatar plane.
But you are 100% right. LA and Miami are some of the worst areas in the country regarding the percent of people that live on subsistence living under $20,000, right? Subsistence living, $2,000 a month, right? Less than $2,000 a month. And
You can't live in California. I mean, you can't live in California without getting assistance if you are making below like $30,000. I mean, frankly, you can't.
no,
That's
I
the
know, but what we
that's the difference
have,
between other states. That people that live in other states are like, huh, and they don't understand it. The problem is that we haven't actually. The good thing is that as things shift, dramatically, hopefully they're going to bear down the walls of being able to build. So that's been the problem. I mean, that's real. That's been a problem for a long time. Is they need to be able to build more swiftly and quickly and better and appropriated, etc. in California for people, at a lower class period.
Let's state it correctly. You can't live comfortably. There's a lot of folks that are living off of way less than $30,000 a year in LA. That's where there's homelessness, and a lot of other people are living off of other people and whatever, scraping, but they're living, but they ain't living nice. That's for sure.
and sadly, and again, as other places are lower cost of living, right? To gas is less, food is less, all of those types of things. But it's a really sad situation when you have 7 million units in our country. That's a massive issue that's got to be addressed. So I don't know what all the answers are, but it definitely needs some focus, and the misappropriation of funds as well. I agree is attributed.
So the thing is, like, the thing is, the catalyst had to happen in order, actually, because there's so much pushback around a lot of people that have a lot of money that own a lot of land. They push back on developments. They don't want their properties being touched, their areas. That's the problem. But the reality is that, as you have to make it a balance for individuals that are actually working on the farms to bring in the food that you eat and all that jazz. So it needs to be redefined, and it's going to have to be, people are going to have to, everyone's going to have to fold their cards, because we all have to work together in order to do that. And we need to get housing in order across the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just don't think there's any excuse for it. Like, the bottom level is, like, you make sure people can eat. Okay, I think we've handled a very good job at that. I really do. Now we need to make sure that people have ability to find housing across the country. Like, period. Like, there shouldn't be this, and and especially since we are one of the leading power countries of the world, and I hope we continue to be, and I expect that we will continue to be. So we need to, housing is, critical.
100%. And just some of the factors, and yes, this is from an AI source, right? So I don't have this just in my head always. Um, but you're exactly right. The zoning and land use laws is a major factor. High construction cost, which makes sense. Low and expensive permitting makes sense. Underfunded public housing and vouchers, which is sad. Section 8 vouchers are scarce. Only one in four eligible families receives assistance. And then I get that it's good for the Blackstones and the hedge funds and those to buy up multifamily homes and renovate them and then raise the rents, but it is a further reduction. So the flipping, right? Buying up, look, I have a business partner that or it was somebody, it wasn't a business partner, it was a coworker that had an exit and bought up a whole bunch of homes, 100 homes in Atlanta, and he renovated them and flipped them, and he raised the rents. That's not good necessarily for affordable housing. It's counter to, takes more of the affordable housing off the market. It's good for that individual, it's great for flipping, it's great for an ROI, it's bad for the folks that need affordable housing.
And unfortunately, that's the way of the land. Unfortunately, like, that's, if you're in a commercial real estate, they'll work the greasy wheel as far as they can take it. They'll figure out, if the laws change, how they can work it so they don't list a listing, they just sell it in the pocket. So, I mean, these are the things, tactics that they've done. Our president actually has done them for decades. I mean, if you look back at his historical, like, his commercial real estate expeditions, he knows how to work it, takes advantage of tax, credits that you can get, they work it. And it's unfortunate, but it's exactly right, though, or like, the tax, and that's a problem. Exactly. It's just like people that own a big amount of, land don't want to develop it, or they don't want, or they actually don't want their neighbors to be able to have, them build a little home for their parents on you know on the land. I mean, so they fight all these. That's been the problem in California. So
Also,
it's changing.
the buck will always stop with the governor. I don't care how he tries to pass the buck with the governor, because then it's going to go right back to every city's mayor, and it's going to go right. It's going to be that chain of command, and so that's where the pressure from the people is going to come from, and either they're going to hold them accountable, or they're not, and it's going to come down to that, because when you've got cities like the size of L.A., or states like the size of California, it comes down to that state money and where it gets parsed out. And if the people come together enough, and they're not just homeless and out of doors, and not every homeless person is not necessarily not involved. Some homeless are very involved with the politics, even though they're homeless. But the reality is, if you don't have enough people putting enough pressure on the schools, on the mayors, to do right, then they won't. They just won't. It's just the fact of the matter. But I know there's a lot of people, boots on the ground, that are they're on those lines, and they're doing whatever they can. But it's when you're talking about housing, that's not going to be one developer project. It's like a whole city type ordinance, like you said, zoning and what they make space for. It's that kind of a problem. Yeah, individually you'll have individuals doing that whatever they can. A lot of people are moving to different states. North Carolina, I know, of course, Atlanta, back in Georgia, different places. But at some point, you know, individually is one thing to look at it, but masses of people, either they're just gonna be there frustrated, fighting amongst each other, or they're gonna find somewhere else to go.
So I'm up in Northern California, so a lot of I've seen, I've this has been a problem since it's been a problem down in downtown San Francisco since the 60s, 70s. Like they had to down in Tenderloin. So a lot of the homeless people were, kind of bussed here. I mean, but they kept them in their little area. Now it's gotten worse, obviously during COVID and whatnot. And it's really sad because it's such a beautiful city. But regardless, it's still going to be a beautiful city. So a lot of these businesses that own these big, properties, they just sit on them. They just sit and wait till the market's right. And a lot of people can just afford that. They don't even have to put anyone in there, and they just sit and wait. And that's the problem that the government has, is how do you push them to be able to sell, but they don't. They'll just sit and leave them completely empty until the market's right, because it's such prime real estate. So that's the problem too. It's unfortunate, but I'm just talking about, like, that's another angle of the problem that there also is, to be able to manage from a governor standpoint. How do you create, like, how do you stop that?
I'll tell you right now, if I was governor, they could easily say, okay, 500,000 homes. We're gonna, of course, what they talk about with affordable housing. It's like a whole bunch of housing that is houses, but it doesn't have to be. Shit, they could be $50,000 each. They could be, it's possible, it's doable. That's either that's going to be an intention or it's just not. And you're just going to say, oh well, let move them. Okay, there's encampment or something. Okay, you're going to have to. There's a lot of open spaces in California that they're not even being utilized. But it would require a
I
certain amount of
agree.
it would be a certain amount of infrastructure that would have to come from the governor or definitely, on that level. Yeah, the city can only do so much, depending on what city you're in. There's a certain infrastructure that if you're the mayor, Karen Bass in LA, you can't just all of a sudden just create money out of nothing. It comes down to from on high, in this case, the governor's office. They would have to intentionally say, okay, in these different major cities that we're going to put in these outlying little areas within 30 miles or 40 miles or whatever, this is what's going to be over here. That'll alleviate some of the tension. You have to, again, not on like 100 houses or something. That's not going to do a damn thing. It'd have to be like 100,000 kind of a mindset. And that's even putting a dent in it, but it'll create some kind of a whole new infrastructure and stuff. If anything lacking on that level, it's not going to just solve itself, guaranteed.
And no, I mean, it has to be orchestrated in such that you actually put people in areas which they actually can, thrive forward, like, move out of that. So you want to be smart about it in terms of the approach. It needs to be different than what it has, period. And I believe that there's, that possibility. It's just, the thing is, they need to do it now, and they should have done it before. But do they have, I believe the San Francisco mayor actually does have some, serious angle in terms of changing the city. So I do believe in what he's doing is hopefully going to make changes, progress. But it's not just, Bay Area. It's, you have these problems down there in LA, as you were speaking about. I mean, it goes across a lot of areas in California, across the country as well. So it's just about how can we look at this from, respectful, like, way in which actually people can actually, rise above this and actually find, just grace in their life, if you will.
Yeah, that's why I go back to the governor. If the definition of a governor is over that state, and you got to look out for your whole state, and you can't just have a mindset like, oh, I got mine, I'm good. You can't have that mindset if you're a governor. You got to be like, I care about the people, like, not just the bottom rail, but like, again, that a lot of folks are, and even the ones that aren't homeless are barely are scraping. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So it's a big thing, and it goes back to if I was a governor of a state, especially California, housing. That would be my number one thing. He's talking about rail from San Francisco to Vegas, and how much money they wasted on projects that there's nothing happening with it. You know
That's
how
been in the
many?
decades. They can't blame one person on that one. I mean, I
I'm
think
not
everyone
blaming one
just like
person.
wants to
I'm
look
not
the other
blaming.
way
I'm not
on that
blaming
one
at
because
all.
no one understands.
I'm not
I mean, I can't.
blaming.
I'm
It's
just
not a.
saying it's been a big clusterfuck of like, what the
It's not a
fuck's going
blame
on with that
conversation.
project?
Whoever's in that seat, it's not a blame. I could give a damn what happened in the past. Today, what needs to happen moving forward. You got to stop spending money on stupid stuff, and you got to go about the people. If you don't have people living and surviving, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? They need jobs. They need to survive. They need a place to stay. They need. If you don't have enough of that infrastructure in place within your walls of your state, what do we need you for? What are you doing? Who cares what's going on over there? It's like if you still believe in a democratic system of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, then who the hell are you representing? You just the top 10 percentile? That's what's been going on. That's the fact.
Right.
It's
Well,
not.
I don't
The
think it's
root
as
cause
simple
is
as
that
that though, because there's a lot. There's got big budgets with a lot of expenses. I must be like, look, I mean, certainly, like I look back and think, gosh, and at times, like I really don't agree with some of the things, but I also have to understand that, being a governor of California before governor, that's being the governor of California is not an easy job because it's a huge country in itself. And managing the budget and also the changes, especially with these tariffs. I mean, they have a lot on their hands right now. I don't envy their position, and I certainly, don't know how this is all going to pan out. But I believe we will somehow find, the means to do this. But it's going to be challenging because we do contribute a lot to the United States of America federal government. We help, FEMA funding out for other states. The whole thing is like, how do you? I mean, it's just this has gotten really complicated as well as just coming out of COVID. So it's just look. I honestly I don't believe that being governor of California is exactly a job that I would be like, oh, that's so exciting because I know it's not. Because managing the budget, it's a huge state with a huge amount of income, with a huge amount of people, and a huge lot of problems. And that's
Yeah.
and I,
Yeah, and if you can't handle the job, don't take the job, Newsom or anybody. It's not supposed to be a nice, easy job. It's not. Oh, I just it's a nice gig. If you want a nice gig, go get a job at McDonald's or something. It's not about having a nice, easy. The buck stops there. You have to make it
Okay,
go.
so what about Trump accepting a $400 million plane from Qatar? I mean, let's like it's kind of like you say that, and then you have someone that's just changing the whole like political game around tariffs and taxes. I mean, yeah, the ships are not coming in. People are losing jobs like at the ports. It's not okay. So the thing is, like, no one expected this to come into play as well. As we were still like basically on a budget from the COVID, and maybe there was some decisions that were not done properly, but we have to live in the current situation. So I just don't really understand, like you say, like, don't take the job, but here is our
Yeah,
president that's going to
I'm.
Qatar
I'm
to
a,
get a $4 million plan rather than spending time trying to solve wars and actually help our economy lower the cost of goods. He's actually looking for his mind is focused on a $4 million plane that has to be reconfigured, reevaluated. That's going to point two point. I mean, a lot of money for us to actually. It's just ridiculous. So when you
yeah,
say
but
that, it's like, is he doing the job?
well, who cares? You just want to sound frantic. That who cares talking about Donald Trump? If you live in California and you live in LA, you got a chain of command. It's called a mayor and it's called a governor. Before you ever get to a president, if you can't control Trump, you can definitely focus over here on your state governor and saying,
Okay, so who do you propose? If you don't think Governor Newsom's
I
doing a
didn't
good
say
job, who would you
I'm not
say?
I'm not on the political conversation right now. I'm talking about whoever gets in that seat. A damn monkey. I don't care who's in that seat. Doesn't matter. Democrat, I could care less. Whoever's in the seat, you have all of the weight of the power that's coming at you now. All that heat is on you. It's your job. That's your job. So don't talk to the masses of people that are starving and homeless. It's a difficult job, and well, Trump, they don't give a shit about that conversation. You jumped in as wanting to be the governor. You saying I'm gonna make the state of California go right. You are a part of that. That's not,
Well,
you know.
I'm just saying that Newsom's in the hot seat right now. Okay, I agree. All eyes are on him. Clearly.
Yes, yes. and the mayor too. Where if you live in San Francisco, go your mayor. Absolutely, that's where you have the. That's what a democratic society does. Look, there's money you're getting from the city, and we got to talk about this, man. You just not
I like the
again,
mayor.
man.
I like the new mayor. You know
Yeah,
the Daniel Lorry. Do you know him?
I don't know him
You
at
know,
all. I
he's a
met him when he was
trustee
down in.
son for Levi Strauss.
Hey, that's all good. I
He's
mean, look,
taken initiative. He's very bold and he's just cleaning house.
same thing. School
People,
board. If you do school
I
board,
really believe in him. I hope that he's going to change things around, and I believe he will.
there you go. So I'm just saying, it's just there's no mystery God that is going to do any of this. You know what I'm saying? There's no abracadabra. So that's all I'm saying is that. But
Just check
because
out
if not,
Daniel Lorry. Check him out. He's actually
okay,
solid, actually. So I'd be curious
okay,
to hear what your thoughts were after you check him out.
no, it's all good. The because again, at the end of the day, you just have chaos and disease and mental illness and dirtiness and people ain't taking baths and you know people frustrated and it's still the number one axiom in life is stay alive. Whoever the hell you are, your only priority in life is to stay alive and live another day. You know, yeah, you can make it nice and great and thrive. That's even more nice. But the first thing, a bird knows that, a damn cockroach knows your job today is to be here tomorrow and still be. And so, you know, when that basic necessity of stuff and fresh water and you can't access that stuff, how long does it take before you just start acting a fool? How is that good for you, Newsom, or whoever? Like, you know, your cities are just going crazy. So, you know, work with your mayors and yeah, dig down and get in there and say, oh, kind of like do what Trump is doing. Whether you like it or not, he's doing something. Shit, he's doing some crazy shit, but he doing something as far as, you know, jump in and start doing something because it's just not acceptable to look like you ain't doing a damn thing. Start signing some executive orders to make some stuff move. That's all I'm saying. I got to sign off. Y'all have a good night. It's all good conversation.